Hi, welcome. On this video, I'd like to discuss some dynamics, relational dynamics, to help people understand or gain a little better insight into how things kind of line up. Sequencing that I follow, understanding these relational dynamics when it comes to creating meaningful change with dogs. And so one of the things here, especially seeing me on a board and train situation right now, I'm putting out lots of videos with Sky, who is a husky. Sky has lots of control issues going on. And so here I'm very intentional with follow a certain sequence, and you'll see me kind of go through the numbers as I'm starting to define the script, as I'm starting to influence change with Sky. It's all really understanding how the script expands, okay, right from day one up through into the 2 weeks. And again, even when I set it to 2 weeks, it's understanding of how to transfer that over, how to make sure that the owners are changing at the same time, that they're going to continue through with the process. Basically what they're doing is they're piggybacking off of what I'm doing with role changing their dog. But even during the process, I'm meeting up with them, okay, at a certain point to make sure that they're very, they feel really good about the process, but they also have the tools needed, okay, to continue forward in the process. Because again, it takes time, but again, when you do it right, or when you understand the sequencing, the board and train situation, board and train can be very effective, depending on certain situations. But again, getting back to this issue about dynamics, understanding dynamics, even when you're looking at, say, stepping into the role, say as a trainer, it's really understanding about how that contrasts, okay, through the issue about personality type. So, for example, when I step into the role this way through a board and train, it really can be very challenging to the dog. And it's nothing to do with the method per se, because here's the thing, you become the system. So it's really working off of the individual, off the personality type of the person. The method itself is an extension of that. So for example, for the first day or two, depending on the level of control a dog has, I'm very intentional with how I'm defining the method. For example, if it's, if the dog has a lot of control, say the dog is really up into those high levels, and I'm in the scripting or how the method comes together, if it's too defined, which means that even though it's what would be considered reasonable, it may be unreasonable enough for the dog that I'm going to trigger aggression. And again, you have to really understand or know how the scripting itself, how to change it or play with it a little bit so that it's leveled out. And so, for example, it's really being intentional with how, even as I stepping into a role, how I'm defining the method itself a certain way. So, for example, I might skip a step, okay, which means I may not do the push-pull, okay, because I know that, hold on here a second, this dog has a lot of control issues, so I need to skip that step and just be kind of a little bit more, smooth and fluid and a little bit loose with the leash and the method, because that dog because really it's playing off personality type. So even when you look at how I'm doing, say, helping people on a home session or people coming to me for sessions, I'm actually using the control issue, okay, the fact the dog has control, again, against the dog in a way to keep the level of challenge down, because as the method comes online, the dog's thinking, hey, I'm still in control here. So they're more accepting of that person. And it has nothing to do with trust, okay? The trust issue is really about control. So the attachment and how change is happening it sets up that way. So I'm manipulating it, basically. And even when I'll have a dog, say, and I can sense that dog is really starting to, escalate. The dog is really not, really starting to flame up a little bit on me. I'll hand the leash back to the owner, and I'll coach them. I'll work off them, because again, I'm using the issue of control to my advantage. Okay, it de-escalates the dog. Now, again, in the long term, you don't want that. I mean, that the picture can look great. People look at that and say, man, and they'll put some sort of spin on it. But I understand the control spin. Okay, I understand that that's not necessarily a good thing at all. That person has to become different in how they think. But I'm just manipulating so that I'm not going to have a aggressive moment. Okay, so it's really understanding these dynamics, how they set up. So again, when I'm doing board and train, very intentional. I know exactly the skill set applied to make it so that it's very leveled out. But again, at the same time, following my sequence, testing the motives of the dog at all points. So again, just want to put it out there that there actually is quite a bit going on. When people look at this system, there's real depth here. There's things going on. I'm using certain things to manipulate the process so that bad things don't happen. Dogs can hold an enormous amount of control. This is why even in situations, even defining the term about aggression, dogs can they can flash over. They can be you can have an aggressive moment with a dog that's never bitten before, because here's the thing: the dog's fully in control. The dog can be holding an incredible amount of control and power in the relationship, but because that owner has built the world for that dog to fit into, and no one's really stepped in that world a certain way, suddenly that dog will flash. That dog will bite somebody, say a trainer, very quickly, and the person will be like, and the trainer could be like, "Where'd that come from?" When in reality, it's not. Sometimes people don't get a real good sense of these control issues to understand what's happening beyond just the appearance of things. So again, I would encourage anyone, if you're looking for real answers, if you really want to understand these issues, in the best way to overcome, say, issues dealing with aggression, these control issues, moving beyond appearances, I'd encourage you to take a serious look at this system. There's real depth to it, because it is what it is. I mean, I'm actually following the process, defining it for what's really happening. So again, I'd encourage you to check out the options. Lots of great options. Again, encourage you to check out my videos. Lots of great videos. Even right now, you'll see me putting out lots of videos involving myself and Sky, the board and train. And what I'm doing there is I'm really showing people and giving people a really good view into the process. So you're going to see me interacting with Sky in all sorts of situations, just so people get really good transparency, so you can really see what's happening, how the method really works. So anyway, check out my website. Lots of great information. Thanks for watching.